welcome to your massage. How are you doing today? I see. I hope by the time you leave this massage, you feel even just the littlest bit better. Now, as I understand it, we are doing a Japanese Shiatsu massage. Is that correct? Wonderful. It's an excellent day for it. Lots of off and on rain. Some birds here or there. It's rather quiet considering. Beautiful time for it. Now, if you don't mind, I'd love to tell you a little bit about the history and background of Shiatsu massage. Wonderful. So Shiatsu in Japanese means finger pressure. We are going to be using the thumbs, of course, and the fingers, but we also use the whole hand. We use the heel of the hand, the sides, the entire hand here. And Shiatsu massage was developed by a man named Tokujiro Namikoshi in the 1920s. It is a holistic massage modality based on traditional Chinese medicine, more specifically the concept of meridians and qi or ki and acupoints in order to balance the body, to bring harmony to the body. It is a dry massage, no cream or oil here, and you can also be just as you are dressed. The only thing I ask is that you take off your shoes, and that's it. Does that sound good? Wonderful. So, for this massage, I am going to need to be touching you. Is that okay with you? Wonderful. So I'm going to have you lay down on your back to start, and we will start with a Hara Diagnosis. Are you comfortable as you're laying here? Okay. And is there anywhere you think you might need a little bit more support at all? Under the knees, for example? Okay. Just let me know if you do. And to start our Shiatsu massage, we are going to take a look at the Hara, or the abdomen. So I'm going to use a light hand over the Hara. Now the organs that we are assessing follow the order of essentially coming down the left side of the upper abdomen, then the right, down the middle, and across the bottom. So we have organs like the heart, the gallbladder, the liver, and the lung on the upper Hara, and organs like the kidney, bladder, and large and small intestines on the lower. There are 12 zones in total. We are going to begin with my supporting hand here, also known as a mother hand. I'm going to put this on your abdomen here, and I'm going to use my other hand to palm down the leg. So we're going to start at the top. And using gentle perpendicular pressure here. A little more gentle on the knee here. I'm going to just palm down the leg. Get a little bit of that compression. Good. Bring this hand here so I'm not so stretched. Then squeezing the foot. And we're going to come back and palm down again. Careful on the knee. And just work down. Down to the ankle and squeezing the foot. Good. So now I am going to use my thumb here, and I'm going to thumb down the stomach meridian here. Just using that perpendicular pressure, pressing down and moving along. We'll keep going down all the way to the toes. All the way down, thumb extended. Then I'm just going to take your foot here and we're going to do a little bit of rotation. Good. And I'm going to move myself down a little bit so we can work on the foot. So for your foot here, I am just going to be kneading this open. Just working the foot here. Getting a couple of passes before I thumb down each bone all the way to the toe. Then I'm just going to rotate the toe and stretch. We're going to work laterally to medially. At the second to last toe here, rotate, stretch. The middle toe, following the line of the metatarsals all the way to the tarsal. Stretch. Pressing down. How is this pressure for you? Yeah, I say as I've been doing it for most of your toes here, and then we'll get to the last one. So let me know if you like it a little more firmer or a little softer. Stretch. And then we'll open up the foot just a little bit more. Before we start working on the other side. Mother hand on the Hara and palming down the leg. All the way to the foot before giving it a couple of squeezes. All the way to the toes. Calming down. Even just the compression feels quite grounding. It forces you to be in your whole body instead of just your head. And I'm going to thumb down the meridian. Good. All the way down to the feet. Then I'm going to take your ankle and we're just going to rotate the foot, rotating it outwards. Before coming down and working on the feet. So kneading open the foot a few times, getting the tissues warmed and pliant. Before thumbing down the bones all the way to the tarsals, rotating and stretching. Always using an extended thumb. That's something that sets Shiatsu a little apart from acupressure, even though it's considered a type of acupressure, is that the thumb remains extended and not bent. Rotate and stretch. Just switching to the other side. Working the metatarsals. Rotating the toe. Pulling. And the most medial big toe here, getting a nice rotation and a nice stretch. Then we can knead open the foot a little more, settle everything down. And then I'm going to come back up and we'll work more on the upper body. I'm going to just adjust your arm here. We'll relax that down. I'll have my mother hand or my supporting hand on the shoulder. And we're going to palm down the arm all the way to the hand. And this time I don't need to worry so much about overextending. The arm is generally a lot shorter than the leg. So I am going to thumb down what is called the pericardium meridian, or sometimes the heart protector. It is the muscle that surrounds the heart. And you also have the heart and lung meridians on the arm. The heart is more medial and the lung is more lateral. Good. And then I am going to put my pinkies in between this part of your hand and then your thumb so I can open it up. And I'm going to thumb around the palm. This is more like a kneading almost. I'm going to thumb the palm. And then I'm going to take your arm and give it a little shake here. Before I work the joints, and then we will stretch the finger, but this is going to be a stretch more for the whole arm. So I rotate the finger at each joint and then stretch, working distally to proximally. Good. Stretch, rotate, rotate, and stretch. So I am going to do this on your other side. You just lay your arm back down here, and then we'll work on your other arm. As sort of a linking move between the arms, I'm going to palm up the rib cage a bit, and then using the sides of my hands, I'm going to press down on either side of the sternum here, working down from the xiphoid process up the body of the sternum and the manubrium at the top. And then we can palm the upper chest here. Shoulders, press them down, working along, and we can do a bit of kneading, like a cat, like making biscuits essentially, kneading down, letting the shoulders lower and relax. And then palming the tops of the shoulders. There. You take your arm here, one hand at the shoulder, you hear all sorts of birds, as if they're enjoying the rain shower themselves. And then using my thumb down the pericardium meridian, thumbing down all the way to the hand, going to take your arm and we'll give it a little shake. I'm going to slot my fingers in, right in here and in here, so we can open up our area. And then thumbing the hand here before we give everything a little rotation and a little stretch. So, working, start the pinky here, rotate each joint, and stretch the whole arm via the finger. Stretch, rotating the proximal joint, rotating at the distal joint, and pulling. Working the pinky here, stretch, and the thumb just here at that one major joint, and pull. Good. Now for the face. This could go one of two ways. Now generally we use a cloth over the face. That way we don't disturb any makeup if you have it on, or get any finger oils on the skin. But we also can do it without a cloth if you prefer. It's up to you. Okay, we can do that. So I'm going to begin by using my thumbs to press out along the forehead here. I'll just get a couple of passes using my thumbs to palm out on a much smaller scale. I'm going to put both thumbs right in between the brows here, one on top of the other, and press down. And then this one is going to stay here, while the other one thumbs up the midline. So this is part of the bladder meridian. We're going to work a lot with that one. We're going to go back as far as we can. And I'm going to be pressing my fingertips very gently on the inner corners of the eyes. Very gently. Being careful of the nails here. And then on the inner corner of the eyebrows. And then we'll just thumb out along the eyebrows here, pressing down on the eyebrows. And we can palm along the sides of the face here. and fingertips along the sides of the nose here, the outside of the nares, before thumbing out along the maxilla and towards the cheekbones. And then we can come up by the jaw here and squeeze along the jaw. Readjust a little bit, and we can work on the neck area. So I'm just going to roll your head onto my fingertips here, and you'll feel these pressing in on the occiput. So using the weight of your head, we're getting that pressure while I just use my fingers to hold. Very gently pressing in. And then we can roll the head a bit so that we're getting more pressure on one side while I support the head, and roll it back onto my other fingertips here to get more pressure there. And roll back and support the head. And one more roll right here. Good. Excellent. So I'm going to put both my hands back under, fingertips at the occiput, and we are very, very gently going to stretch. Stretch the neck. I'm going to pull upwards and make some space between the vertebrae and the head. Good. Okay, so we are going to move on to the next part of your body. I'm just going to gently put my hand on your back so that you can get used to my touch here. And we are going to work from essentially the scapulae to the sacrum and the hips. That's going to be our back area. And I'm going to start by putting my hands outwards. We're going to start under the scapulae and palm down the back. Work all the way to the sacrum. And then along either side of your spine, just a little bit off, I'm going to bilaterally thumb down the bladder meridian And we're going to be working with this one for quite a ways. Now we're going to do something called a sacral squeeze, which I'm going to use the heels of my hands along the sides of the sacrum, and we are going to draw this inwards. This area can get so knotted and tight. It's nice to bring some mobility back in this area. I'm going to have my mother hand on the lower back and palm down the leg. And being very careful on the back of the knee. It's a very delicate area. And then just going to squeeze the foot all the way to the little toe. Press, press, press. Good. And squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Good. Now we're going to do some thumbing. So continuing down the bladder meridian here. Thumbing down. And then about halfway down the calf, we're going to take a little detour. We're going to move a little laterally here and work the rest of the way down, all the way to the ankle and squeeze down to the little toe. And then using my hand here to just knuckle down the foot a little bit, working up. Pressing, compressing. And then I'm going to move to the other leg, where I'm going to put my support hand on the lower back and palm down the legs. We're coming to the foot and squeezing up the foot. Careful on the back of the knee. And squeezing the foot. So we have our thumbing here. Working down that bladder meridian. Pressing and releasing. Coming down to halfway down the calf and moving laterally. So we can work the line all the way just past the ankle and then squeeze up to the little toe. And then we can knuckle into the feet here. Up and down. Opening up the tissues a bit. And then we can move to the upper chest area, or rather the upper back. So I am going to palm around the tops of the shoulders, top of the back. And then thumbing the line of the shoulders. Starting at the midline, working laterally for a few passes here. Using my whole hand. Now I'm going to put one hand on top of the other, and we are going to work down on the spine. We'll work to mid-back. Before we get a little bit of a stretch in there, I'm going to place one hand on the sacrum and one hand on the small of the neck. And we're going to get a little bit of a stretch here. Open up the spine. Opening the spine. Good. And thumbing down the spine from the top of the neck all the way down to mid-back. Before we do one last opener for the back. Wonderful. So, take your time. I'll give you a few minutes to come back to the room, and then I'll have you sit up when you're ready. And how are you feeling? Little loose, little limber. I'm glad to hear it. Is there anything I can do before we end the massage? Very good. I'd like to thank you so much for coming to me for this Japanese Shiatsu massage. I hope you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your night. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, it would greatly help me out if you clicked the like button and left a comment so YouTube's algorithm registers that it was a good video. If you want to see more of my work, consider subscribing to the channel. I create primarily medical access on videos, and exclusive content on Patreon. Or I also have a Ko-Fi link for a one-time donation, or a throne wish list